Alright, Dave Knight here at 123daytrade.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I thought this video would be more helpful than my trading video today, being down 46 ticks. I want to talk about the trade that I missed that influenced the rest of the day. And it's simply because I wasn't ready to trade when the trade was available, as I talked about in the video, my talk today. Now, at 6:37, which is 7:37 my time Eastern, this was the highest volume bar on the charts right here. And what you could have set up is a market that topped and then your entry point right in here and taking it lower. This bar comes in after the fact, as I talked about. I don't think I even talked about it in the video itself on the trading video. This bar here had already it comes in after the fact of this bar. So the 68.20 would have been able to most likely get out at least a 67.32 range on this down move. Which is right here. Which is a 4-peak down move. And then 54 would have been the stop at that point. Which was run right in this area over here. So right before the US Open. And then the market comes down at 8 o'clock, comes back up. And this was my original entry point right in here, which was a GAN signal that I had followed. And I was good with getting in there. It was a nice signal. But here, so let's go back. So 32 at that point was the low, and it ended up being, I think, 26 was the low before it went back up to this mark here. And that entry point itself, and you take away, it was about a 65, 66 tick move that was available, in this case, before the US markets open up. So very, very nice trade setup based upon the highest volume bar. Now, highest volume bar after this ends up being red. Here's your red at this point. It comes in at this low. So that's why I would have told what I tell. So let's go here. So this bar right there is your highest volume bar, and you can see the bottom of the market at this point in time. It doesn't end up being the bottom altogether, but it does end the downward movement temporarily. Now the market comes on down a little bit later in the session. That's because we were trading between pivot point and S1 still, and the downward bias was still strong at the open. But the best trade of the session to trade down was right in here. And this would have been a warning signal to get out. Now, so if I would ignore the short that I ended up taking, what made this different was this blue right here, that bar is not red. And it ends up being the session low. For some strange reason, that ends up being the session low right here. And this is unusual for a blue to show up where you expect a red to show. Now I've noticed this previous, like for instance, here's a blue showing up in this uptrend where you expect it. Where you don't expect the blue to show up is when it's running down here. So the big question mark of the day, now obviously this ends up being the low of day, but the big question mark is why? I don't know. I don't really have the answer to why, but what I do know is this is unusual in a downward movement on the downside to come in. So as the market's coming down, to see a high bar blue volume, and then we trade off of that and up. So what I'm getting at is I need to pay more attention obviously to what volume is telling me. So volume itself, that's the bar that coordinates with this blue. So this red bar coming down coordinates with this blue bar right there, which is very unusual. It doesn't happen, but I've seen it happen occasionally, and it can, and when it does seem to come in, it could form a top if you see a red, the opposite, and then it could form a top, and then on this move obviously it can form the bottom. Why? That's a big question mark, but seeing it, and I'm trying to let you see what I'm seeing and thinking, is a huge reason behind why the market decided to go up today. And obviously if you look at where this low is, 67.14, to where we finished today, we're up at the 6,900 level. So we've made up pretty much all of the loss or the downward movement today, and it ends up only being a 2-day down day, and then basically almost an outside day. Well, it actually is an outside day from the previous day. So is $70 a barrel in target now? Yes, definitely. 70 is certainly within range. So once again, what we're seeing in this upward momentum bias move that has been, basically on a tear from the $50 a barrel handle to now $69 again. What we're seeing is a market that goes up, with the exception of this right here, that's been very, very short downward days. The downward bias has been extremely cut off. And this is normal as it relates to an uptrend. And I've obviously been bucking this. And this is what I'm trying to stop bucking. But this is what I'm bucking, and this is what's been, messing me up. When we're in a downward slope and a downward momentum driven market, then these days are what you see is those long down days, a couple of days up and then down again, or a settling in and then a breakdown down. But what we're seeing in the upward momentum is this, right? Now how many has this been? I mean, we could count the waves if you wanted to on the daily chart. You could count what the wave seems to be. I mean, it's all in the matter of the eye of the beholder at this point, right? So here's your 0, your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4, and we're busting that 5 right now. So the ABC correction could be coming. That's what I've been kind of counting on, is ABC correction of this up move. That's kind of what I'm thinking as a longer term trader, that the top is getting, and it's getting violent up here. I mean, it's, when you see a downward movement like this and then you see an upward movement like that, that is violent. I mean, it corrects itself just about $2 today to stop this downward bias of the or counter trend, to stop this counter trend. So extremely violent movement. Where can we go from here? I mean, I think $70 a barrel is within reach, if not greater. How much further up do we have? Who knows? I try not to get involved in the fortune telling of what a market can and can't do. I know what I was looking for on the downward movement today. I was looking for 66.96. I was continued looking for us to press that number again, right? If the video, I was looking for this today, 66.77 to 66.96. This was the market that's kind of what I was looking for, and the market reached to 67.14. So you could say it got close, but it didn't get to where I wanted it to go to. It didn't get to where I thought the downward movement would take it to. And that's just my opinion. And opinions are like two economists being put together in the same room. Their worth is about as much of the weight of nothing, really. So it doesn't really matter what that opinion is. It's trying to trade what you see, in other words, and not what you think. Anyway, I thought this would be more helpful today than to go through the trading video that I put together that lost amount of money. And like I said, it was all set up. My loss was set up from missing the very first trade today and basically not being ready to trade when that trade came across at 7 o'clock on the charts this morning. And I was obviously had the bias to the down when the market was done going down. And what really tricked me, once again, was this right here. A blue bar and a down move. So why was this the low? Why did that stop all the downward movement today? And that left me like a snaggly tooth trader wondering what just happened, when the whole move after this was nothing pretty much but up. But volume related, red was highest bar volume. So knowing that, there could have been a stop. But the other side of this is the low previous to this was 20 going back. So we had 26, 20, then 14. At this point in time, when this low was posted, it was making lower lows. So it's somewhere the bias changed. But at this point in time, ends up being the low. Lower lows, and then we go an outside day. From this point forward, we don't come back down for the rest of the session pretty much. That's it. Talk to you later. Bye now.